everyone. It's been a while since I have posted something on YouTube, largely because the video that I would be focused on, I already did when I did the one for the lunar eclipse on July the 27th. So for some reason, I felt inspired to go ahead and do an update today, given the energies of the time, and they are specific to where we are in the eclipse cycle and where we are at preparing for the new moon on August the 11th. August the 11th, early morning, really, here Pacific time. So really, for all intents and purposes, the night of August 10th, August 11th, early morning. And if there's a keyword, I'm trying with these YouTube videos to keep them pithy and short and trying to create, especially initially, some sort of a brief summary of the energy of the time so that you have something to take away before I get to the astrological gobbledygook. And if there's one word that I would use right now, it's patience. In the middle of all the turmoil and the change and the expectation that things will unfold and new things will come to you and things will resolve and old things that you have been trying to let go of, you will be able to move forward with. Everything, it's not, suspension is the wrong word. Patience is really the right word. It's as if certain things have to be gone over. It's not quite the time to leap forward. And yet it seems so much like the thing to bring up at present, because the new moon partial solar eclipse on the night of August 10th to August 11th is a new moon, is the last of the three eclipses, and several things are operating. First and foremost, considering that it's already August 7th and it's going to go into August 8th, the 48 hours before any new moon, and especially as you head to the new moon, so this feeling is only going to intensify over the next 48 to 72 hours, really starts to flatline and become quite dead. There can be a tendency to want to rest and relax and not do very much. And certainly, if you're in that space, feel free to honor it. It's not necessarily the best of times to be launching new things or to give things a lot of energy if you want them to move forward. But it's not a bad time for administrivia. It's not a bad time to get things wrapped up. It's not a bad time to get the ball rolling on those things that you've been meaning to, especially if they're going to provide some sort of closure. It is not a bad time to prepare for the turning of the page. I've used this analogy before. I'll use it again for anyone who's going to be watching these videos for the first time. You know, by the time we get to before a new moon, the wave is pulling away from the shore, pulling away, so that by the time once the new moon happens, it can start to move forward again. So these 48 hours is that last, let's wrap things up, close things out, finish things, get them done, breathe, rest, period. And so if you are really trying to get something new launched or something, you may find that energy is just not supportive. But that doesn't mean, if you're feeling like you can afford to take a break and wrap things up and be in a space of meditation and calm and be preparing for energies that are starting already, we're starting to feel them, starting to come up with this new moon, which is going to be the first of the astrological cycles over the summer that at least brings some promise of forward movement, which I'm going to tell you right now is not going to be here till around September the 11th into October. So if you're really looking for things to move forward with a certain amount of clarity, there are markers. This new moon solar eclipse on August the 11th, Mercury going direct on August the 18th, Mars going direct on August the 27th. Those will be markers, but really the energy when the planets start to gain momentum and we can really feel like, oh, okay, fine, we're moving forward no matter how tumultuous this journey has been up to that point. Early September, it's September 11th and after, and I use the date September 11th, not out of invoking tragic or tumultuous memories, but really because Mars on that date goes back into Aquarius. Mars entered Aquarius, it went retrograde in Aquarius, it'll retrograde back into Capricorn on August the 28th, it'll go direct again, and on September the 11th, it will leave Capricorn and be direct in Aquarius again. And it's really that's going to, given the fact that the lunar eclipse on the 27th happened in the sign of Aquarius, now I'm getting technical, that's what I am looking for. That's what I am waiting for, to be perfectly honest, with regard to Do I have a sense of where I'm going finally? And if not yet, I can really expect it to start to show up in a bigger way. So the key word is patience, understanding that we are in the dark of the moon for all intents and purposes. The dark is going to intensify. This kind of vacuuming, flatlining feeling is going to only intensify until the night of the 10th and the 11th. And all these dates are Pacific time. You're welcome to see when the new moon partial solar eclipse is happening in your geography. And then once the new moon happens, truly, and I know people who've been following these videos are used to the cycle now. Once the new moon happens, and within 48 hours of the new moon, there's just, even not just within 48 hours of the new moon, surprisingly, within hours of the new moon, there's an inspiration, an influx, a moving forward. Sometimes when it is a normal new moon, even the day of a day before new moon, you might get something new that pops out of the universe, an offer, an opportunity, something to look at, something to look into that gives you an inkling of what is going to grow and will need your attention after the new moon. So the day of the new moon, even if the new moon hasn't happened, sometimes these little things start to drop from the universe. And with the new moon, yes, there's an inspiration of energy, and there's a lot of emphasis in astrological circles around intending after a new moon or doing things on your own and starting things after a new moon. But my advice to anyone is really pay attention to what comes to you after the new moon. I would say new moon 48 hours, for some people a week after the new moon, certainly 2 weeks after the new moon. By the time we get to the full moon, things should be really whatever that is. With a typical new moon, they're subtle but unmistakable things. We're not expecting huge dramatic things to happen every 4 weeks, every 28 days, because that's when new moons happen. But it is a cycle. With a partial solar eclipse or with a solar eclipse, don't be surprised if some energies have already started to come up that are announcing or making their presence felt. Some knocks, even this week, that gives you a sense of, I wonder what it is that I'm going to need to focus on. The energy to work on them right now may not be present, but a sense of anticipation, a sense of keeping an eye out or an eye open for things that look like potential opportunities. I would certainly keep an eye out for them even this week while you're wrapping things up, while you're taking care of administrivia, while you're flatlining, while you're relaxing, while you're meditating, while you're preparing. There's a separate video on the August 11th solar eclipse, which is already there in my playlist. If you look at the videos on YouTube, it's already there. So if you really want to pay attention to that particular solar eclipse and the timeline of that solar eclipse and the fact that there's a corresponding lunar eclipse at the end of January, that is all explained to you in excruciating detail. Excruciating but somewhat enjoyable, one hopes, detail in that video, so I'm not going to spend time on it now. What I really just wanted to do was spend time on the energy that I think a lot of people are feeling right now, which is one of can both asking for and hoping for a certain amount of what is that light at the end of the tunnel? What is that thing that I am looking forward to? What is that thing that is going to pull me out of this sense of there is nothing to pull me out of anything kind of feeling right now? And at the same time, a lack of energy too. So even if there's a desire for something new to appear, we don't necessarily have the energy to meet with that desire. Resting and taking care of yourself, or taking care of a backlog of items, or clearing clutter, or preparing for things to be over is really the best way to use this time. And then once that new moon happens, see what starts to happen after that. That's a separate video. Part of the reason why patience is the key word for this particular week or the next 72 odd hours is that both Mars and Mercury are retrograde. And so there is a possible revisiting of old things, but there's certainly a hold on things from moving forward. There's more of a need to go over decisions or intuitively where you think you were going. And there's a need to hold on those because there may be more details that need to emerge, or more things that need to be thought through, or more things that need to be processed before we can start to move forward again. In some cases, if you already had an inkling of what needs to be let go of in the sign of Aquarius, take a look at the July 27th lunar eclipse video I did. It's, again, one of the 4 videos that are already on there. Then, with the Mars retrograde, there may be a need for Mars to really just compel you to get clear on why you made those decisions in the first place and strengthen your resolve. So even if you're not moving forward, somewhere in all this confusion, there may be, even if you find that you're revisiting or rethinking your plans, data may emerge that it's possible that new creative solutions might occur. But it's also possible that even if you think you're rethinking some decision, that in the rethinking, you continue to get evidence that supports the original decision. Let it play out. Patience is the key word right now. Letting things play out is the key word. And one final thing I will say, because we're in that pregnant space right before partial solar eclipse, the last eclipse. And once this eclipse occurs, we're then just in the timeline. Then we are through at least the birth canal. And then as we head into September, October, the eclipses are going to really be in a space of playing out. And as I said, by August the 22nd, August 18th, Mercury starts to go direct. But, it'll take a few days to start to move and gain some momentum. By August the 22nd, it's the first sign of, okay, we're moving forward. Mars, August 27th, by the time we're in September, okay, by the time September 11th and Mars moves back into Aquarius, it's like, all right, we're moving now. So in that spirit, any opportunities that come your way, meet them. Give them your all. You just don't know, especially after August the 11th, even if stuff has been happening now or before, you just don't know which of those holds that magic key. So any opportunity to show up, to have a conversation, to try and resolve any opportunity, any instinctive, anything, meet it fully prepared. Don't necessarily expect an outcome. Don't necessarily get in the space of trying to predict what that outcome will look like. But meet it. Pick up the thread, shake that hand, go take the meeting, go knock on the door, go take that appointment, and give it your best shot. Okay. I will, for people who watch this stuff on Facebook, just so you know, I will be posting the August 11th video I've already done after the new moon solar eclipse occurs. So I'm going to do that as well. You can certainly look at it now on my YouTube channel. Feel free to subscribe to the YouTube channel, click the little bell icon if you want notifications, like the videos, comment on them, any and all of that, share them, blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to include my email address in the description area of this. So if you want to have a reading to understand how the eclipses are playing out for you, or the energy of the time is playing out for you specifically at this time, feel free to reach out. More soon. Thanks for your attention.